Your Halo team, you were considered a dynasty. When you got dropped, what was the justification given?
The way we lost at the World Championship, they probably felt like they needed to make a change because of such a devastating loss. We were so close, yet so far. All great things have to come to an end sometimes.
Have you ever considered playing COD? Thank you again, Prize Picks, for sponsoring another video. Guys, the COD season has now started. We are 2-0 on the week. You're missing out. You're missing out with these incredible picks. If you don't want to do NFL, you don't want to do NBA, you can start doing Call of Duty. Make sure you go to prizepicks.com. You'll get your first deposit matched up to $100 if you use the referral code Breaking Point. Sign up. Multiple games, multiple sports. Doesn't have to be Call of Duty. If it's not your thing, CSGO. You can do that. Make sure you are using Prize Picks this weekend. We have Vegas versus Miami, Boston versus LAT. That's going to be a spicy game. Seattle versus Texas. Bramble Ray taking on his former side. We have Illy on there. We have Hugh. And then on Saturday, we have yours truly, the New York Subliners taking on Vegas Legion. Use Prize Picks. Get your first deposit matched up to $100. Referral code Breaking Point. That again is your first deposit matched up to $100. Use the code Breaking Point. Thank you very much, Prize Picks, for sponsoring this video again. Brad,
Cheers.
Appreciate you, baby. Thank you.
Of course.
Your Halo team on OpTic, you were considered a dynasty. I think you went over 9-10 chips, right? Since the FaZe Clan Invitational back in 2022. So when you got dropped, what was the justification given?
It wasn't necessarily a justification. I think that they just really wanted a different player. I think that just they probably thought our time as that team was done. I think that the way we lost at the World Championship, they probably felt like they needed to make a change because of such a devastating loss. You know what I'm saying? Like we were so close yet so far. Then I think that's it's heartbreaking. And I think that's just they just wanted a different player to try and just compete better with FaZe. Because in my opinion, I think we still could have still could have competed with them.
Yeah.
I think we still were a winning team, a championship caliber team. We won the event right before, so 2 weeks before, just like you guys. I was like thinking to myself, we're going to be the New York Subliners this year, win the first one and the last two. But fortunately, it just didn't pan out that way. But I wish the best for them. I got my new team. I'm excited for my new team. I'm confident. So it's just it's unfortunate, but like I said, it's just some things, all great things have to come to an end sometimes.
So then I would ask, with all great teams, right? You have peaks and you have valleys. These are the cycles that we go through. Your team, not so much. You are very consistent for the most part, but you'll have these little cycles. Would you not say that the devastating loss of champs was just one of the valleys, considering you had a history of winning? I'm assuming this is unexpected, right? Right? So then how did, in your mind, you deal with an unexpected decision like that? Let's say, for context, for some of the viewers that are watching, they might go through something similar in life where they get a result, an exam result they didn't want, or they don't get that job. How did you deal with such a change?
That's a great question. So I'll go back first. So before I was on this team, I was on the FaZe team. Yeah. So I was teaming with Snakebite, Lethal, and Royal 2, and that was when Frosty left to go to Call of Duty back in 2018, the end of 2018. So I was on, our team name was Tox, and then we joined Sentinels. I was on Tox/Sentinels until I think mid-2020, and then that's when I was released. So I was also on a championship caliber team, the team that just won the World Championship, 3 World Championships in total. Yeah. I was just on that team. And so when I got let go of that team, I did not have the same mindset. Well, I still had a great mindset, but my mindset now is obviously more mature. I still, like I said, I had a great mindset then, but now I'm more mature. I think more about the future. So in both instances, in the first instance, when I got let go of Tox, I wasn't sad or anything like that. I always think about my next move. You know what I'm saying? You don't have time to dwell on it. And I think that's just like the overall gist of, what you can take away from what I'm saying is just don't dwell on things you can't control.
Yes.
If a team wants to let go of you, unless you have a conversation beforehand and they let you know what your faults are and you don't improve upon them and then you let go, that's on you. But you have to use that as a learning situation to learn from your mistakes and make sure it doesn't happen again. Because if it happens twice, it's on you.
Yeah.
But I got let go and I was just, I was thought to myself, it was right before my trip to Japan. So my first thought was, all right, let me make sure that I plant the seeds I need to before I go on this trip. Because when I'm on this trip, I'm not going to be able to communicate with people like that because the time zone differences. I'm a day ahead of people.
Yeah.
And when it's morning time there, it's nighttime here. So I just made sure I focused on my next move and I did not dwell on anything. You gotta cherish the happy times. You know what I'm saying? You be happy it happened. You know, to be happy it happened. Be happy that you got that experience. You know, if I was to retire today, my legacy is cemented.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with that. You know, I want to do more. I have so much more I want to do, but I'm comfortable with knowing that I got multiple championships going into Halo Infinite. I was the 13th best player of all time. And I'm comfortable to say that I think I moved up with my legacy in Halo Infinite. I've gotten many event wins in both seasons, a world championship ring, and many people didn't ever think that me and the type of player I am, I would ever get a championship ring, let alone 17 years in. So, like I said, I'm happy with the experiences that I got to have with OpTic. I love them to death. I love the organization, everybody at the organization. Hopefully one day I'll be back when I retire and become a content creator. You never know. Yeah. But like I said, it's just if anything negative happens, just like you said, a bad grade or anything like that, just don't dwell on it. Try and just learn from it. You know, I learned from this experience. What can I do to become a better player in the future so this doesn't happen? What can I do to sharpen my gameplay to make sure when I'm in those situations up 2-0 in the finals, I close that game out? Mm-hmm. I do agree with you. I think that this was one of just our low points, not even just a low point. I mean, we just got second. We got second and got first the event before. And I hate saying, excuse me if I curse. I don't know if I can curse.
No problem.
I hate saying it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda situation, but you know, when you're up 2-0, you're supposed to close those games out. You know what I'm saying? Like you are supposed to, when you're that type of team, when you're the team that we are or that we were, you're supposed to close that out. Everybody's expecting us to close it out. We thought we were closing it out.
Yeah.
But you have to also remember FaZe is that type of team where they have the resilience, they have the experience, they have the ice that they're going to be able to flip that switch at any time. And you cannot take them lightly and you have to keep the foot on the pedal against them. And they just flipped the switch and just came back on us. Like I said, it's very, very heartbreaking. Shit, it still hurts to this day. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's just a learning experience. So they let me go, and I'm just trying to focus on my next move, make sure I just sharpen up as a player, and just do my best going forward.
It's very interesting to me what you've just said. So you were saying you developed maturity. You know, you always think about your next move. This is what we call self-awareness. This is a trait for many, many high performers. Many, many high achievers, you name it. Even using Crim6 as an example, right? Mm-hmm. They have an element of self-awareness, what they need to improve. Now, how did you develop that self-awareness to realize, okay, I need to think about my next move. I need to think 5 steps ahead. I need to work on this. I need to work on the weaknesses. That's something that we do at New York on COD. We have the self-awareness to develop on our weaknesses. How did you find that development and start to develop that self-awareness?
I'd say my experiences outside of gaming help with dealing with, you know, the issues that come with being a professional, you know, team changes, whatever may be, improving, teaming with new people. Mm-hmm. We were speaking before, I've been to college. I'm currently a senior at UCF, and just, you know, doing schoolwork and just having the discipline to make sure you get your schoolwork done on time and also be able to compete.
Was there anything in particular that you felt like helped you look inwards?
Yeah.
Was there like an event that helped you look inwards?
Yeah. I was going to say, so in 2016, this is what I was going to get to. So outside of like school and whatnot, so 2016, I was in a car accident. And in the car accident, I spoke about this on the process, you know, very briefly. But during that time, it was in, like I said, 2016, I was on Team Liquid. I was teaming with Spartan, Stellar, and Eco. And it was on the way to an event. And during that time period, I flew from Florida to California. I had 9 stitches in my mouth, mm-hmm. and I had a severe concussion. I didn't know at the time, but I was playing at the event. I was tweaking. I looked like I was just out of it. And the lights, like say this light right here, was just blinding me. It was just very, very difficult to play. Yeah. And then people were telling me, you should really go to the doctor out in California, see, you know, what's going on. I went to a doctor. Sure enough, they tell me I have a severe concussion. They tell me I'm not supposed to play. I have to stay in California for another week. I'm not supposed to fly, and you're not supposed to look at any screens. You have to just sit basically in a dark room and just try and heal. And that is the moment where I really think a lot of things got put in perspective for me about what's going on. Because when you have to take a step back from what you're doing for so many years, it's very, very hard. So it was hard enough for me to just tell my team at the time, yo, I can't play, because they have to do a qualifier. This is the first year of the Pro League, HCS Pro League.
Yeah.
They have to do a qualifier with our coach at the time, Assault, to make the Pro League. And I have to tell them like the day before, like, yo, I can't play. I'm sorry. And then while I'm sitting there, I'm healing. I'm not able to play. That's when I was like, I really do love this. Like, I really do care about this. This is when I want to be a different person. I want to be a different player. I don't want to happen again. I don't ever want to be in this position. And when I was healing, I got a call from OpTic.
Yeah.
And one of their teammates left and retired, and they needed a player that wasn't in the league and that wasn't, technically on a team to be playing with them. And that was the only option. And I got on OpTic back in 2016. We kept our Pro League spot. But just in that time period, like I said, it's just when a lot of things got put in perspective for me. And then when I wanted to just change as a person, I wanted to just be better. I didn't want any opportunities to be taken for granted again. I didn't want anything to pass me by. And I think just that experience as a whole, and I guess people just underestimating me and just wanting to just be better. I guess that's just wanting to prove people wrong and just do things for myself, setting goals for myself and just trying to just do better each year. And I guess that's just the moment, just when I got my car accident and I had to stop playing. When you have to, like I said, when you have to stop playing, it puts things
everything into perspective. Yeah, no, I understand. This holiday season, you might be looking for a nutritious, convenient meal to keep you energized on jam-packed days. You've just got COD, 25th of December, Christmas. You've downloaded it, ready on the battlefield. Christmas noob. You're going to need something to keep you energized. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat delivery service that can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and everything in between. With chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You don't have to go to a supermarket and make some food. It's done for you. You'll save time, eat well, and you'll stay on track with healthy lifestyle while tackling all your holiday to-dos. Or if you're like me, you're just going to be playing COD and dominate the battlefield. Head to factormeals.com/breaking50 and use the code breaking50 to get 50% off. That's code breaking50 at factormeals.com/breaking50 to get 50% off. Don't delay, dominate the battlefield uninterrupted. Use Factor. But for me, it's very incredible to see, even though we're part of different games, the traits that you have, the way that you think is something that we adopt here. The goal setting, the no regrets, right? We try and take practice as serious as we can, because at the end of the season, if we don't win, we don't want to have a situation where we think, you could have done this, and this, right? We don't want to have regrets. I just want to touch on it briefly. You said you were in college. What were you studying? And what would have your say if you weren't who you are today, this mega star, right? What would you be doing? What would you be studying for?
Okay, so when I first went to college, I was studying industrial engineering, and I wanted to get into engineering management, and that would be like a master's degree, but that was so far away. I was in an engineering program in high school throughout my 4 years. So I was doing, using the programs that other engineers use, like Autodesk, AutoCAD, and I thought to myself, since I've been doing it in high school, let me try it in college. But since there was just, I think I could still do it and do the coursework, but competing and traveling while having to do 3 courses that are very, very study heavy, you have to be on your in those classes. And I got to like Calc 2 and like Physics 2 or Physics with Calc 2, and then I was like, you know what, let me try something else. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, the economy and everything, you see it all over the news. And then my dad got me really into economics and the stock market and everything like that.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. So I switched during COVID to economics, and that was when I was a sophomore. And so I got my associates, and then I went to University of Central Florida, completed my junior year, and I'm currently a senior. I'm not attending classes, but I do want to go back to school this year or this coming year for collegiate Halo. I've gotten a couple offers for basically a full ride to compete.
Wow.
So I really do want to complete my degree just to have like a backup plan. I think that's very, very important for people that are competing, is to have something in the tuck. Make sure that this isn't your only option. You got to have a plan C, D, whatever it may be.
Of course, absolutely. I'm sorry. Sorry, no, sorry. Continue.
I was gonna say, but yeah, I'm just currently a senior at UCF in economics. I have about like 6 or 7 classes left. Not many classes at all. So that's why I really, really want to finish. I took a couple years off back in 2016 for the World Championships back then, because that was like the most amount of money that any Halo player has ever seen. That was the $2.5 million championship. And I told my parents, I was like, I really want to take some time off. They weren't with it at the time, but they nowadays, yeah, exactly. Nowadays they understand like everything. But back then they were like, we will let you do this, but make a promise to us that you go back at some point. You can go back at your own pace, but please just go back. And I kept my promise, and I went back, I think in 2018, but I was just doing a semester or a class or two, just because I was traveling so much. And when you're in a community college, they monitor your attendance. So if you miss like 3 classes, you get dropped. So I have to, I'm trying to tell the teachers, like, this is my job. I have to miss classes. They don't really care. They're not going to listen to me when I say I'm going to play in a video game tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it.
So in an alternative timeline, would we see aPG, the model investment banker?
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes. I was thinking about doing a major in economics and then a minor in finance, since they're so closely related.
Yeah.
And I think it was during COVID as well, when I started to do it. My dad was working at a company out in Tampa. I forgot the company's name, but I was looking into taking an internship there before I went to UCF.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to touch on your further on your education. It's fascinating because in COD in particular, there's maybe 2 or 3 players that have actually gone to school at a undergrad level trying to do a master's. So Slasher is one of them.
Yep.
He has an robotics engineering degree. Mm-hmm. So did you feel like there was anything that you learned from school that you could apply to esports and competition and to help you be, the consistent serial winner that you are today?
Well, first and foremost, thank you. I appreciate the gas. And I think discipline. I think discipline is the name of the game. Even when you're trying to win a tournament, I think just like in your gameplay, in every aspect of being a professional, discipline. Like you got to have discipline to show up to class. You got to have discipline to do your homework, discipline to study, make sure you're doing your papers like a week before, 2 weeks before, not just the last night, cramming it in. Just certain stuff like that. And I didn't even really think about it in the time, like, this is going to help me going forward. But really just having the discipline to get your shit done. I think that's just the main thing. Because when you're playing, like, you got to have discipline to not over challenge. You got discipline to show up to scrims on time. You got to have discipline to make sure you go and call out when you die and not be frustrated. There's certain things that really, really do apply in both areas. And I think that's the number one.
No, I agree. I think so. Just to give you some context, I won't touch on it too much. While I was coaching, I did a biomedical degree.
Oh, really?
Specialized in cancer research.
Wow.
And then at the time, I was also a boxing head coach.
What?
And I tried to coach in challenges. And just like you said, the 3 years that I was doing that, trying to juggle everything, time management had to be on point.
Yes.
Discipline had to be on point.
Yes.
I can't BS around.
Yes.
Didn't have time to BS
yes,
around.
Exactly.
So I think that's something that one of the biggest learnings I will take from education is discipline. But then also, what about the way that you learn? Is there, say, the way you learn Halo, the way you goal set, the way you look at your weaknesses? Again, this links to self-awareness. Would you say some of that came from your education?
100%. I think 100%. And this, because like, gotta have like the self-awareness. Like you do bad on a test, you're like, all right, I gotta go back and improve. You know what I'm saying? Like you do bad at a tournament, you're like, all right, well, I gotta go back to the drawing board, see what, what I need to work on. I definitely agree with you. I definitely think that just a lot of things that you learn in school do apply to just any area of life. It doesn't even have to be the subject. It's just like the method of what you're doing in school. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, time management. If you're in college, especially, like you got parties and everything around you. I was in Orlando, excuse me, for school. So I was with 3 roommates, and they're going out all the time. They would still get shit done. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. But it's just like they're going out, but I got scrims, and I can either choose to do one or the other. I can either scrim and keep getting better at my craft, or I can go out and see what the college life is about. But I would rather sit in my room and play more majority of the time.
No, absolutely. So let's touch on your plan B. This is something I think would be very useful for a lot of the viewers who are thinking about trying to go pro, who are trying to go pro, but they're currently still in high school, might have started college, whatever it may be. How did you balance trying to go pro in Halo with your education? And what were the sacrifices that you needed to make? And then a follow-up question is, why is the plan B so important?
So, me becoming a professional wasn't very difficult at all in terms of like getting to events and whatnot in my education, because I became a pro when I was 13 or 14. So I'm going into my 18th season, and my first event was in 2006. and my best placing during that time period, or in Halo 2 rather, before Halo 3, was in free for all. I got ninth in a free for all. I was very close to getting the top 8 in the last Halo 2 tournament, and I got pro free for all the event before, like 24th, and I also got pro 4v4 in that last Orlando event as well. But it wasn't. I will be honest, like in high school, I wasn't like, I was playing more Halo than I was doing my schoolwork. Let me be honest with you.
Don't we all, right?
Yeah. So mainly like just those years, I was just playing. You know what I'm saying? It would have been, this is to anybody watching, if you're in high school and stuff like that, do your schoolwork. Do your schoolwork. Don't be like me. Try and do the best you can, balance it out. But I was just mainly just playing. I wish I would have taken it more serious because like I said, I went to a community college before UCF. Mm-hmm. But I was just so young that it was just really easy to balance at that time, but it got more difficult as I got older and got to college because there's just so much more. And as you get even older than that, you got bills and priorities. Yeah. But as I became a pro, it was just really easy to balance. It wasn't really any difficulty. I was blessed to have my parents that supported me. They took me to my first events. They went with me to every event until I was like 16. They supported me fully, especially when they started to see I was doing well. So in terms of the education, I just wasn't doing I wasn't a bad student. Don't get me wrong. I was like a C student in high school, CBA student. I wasn't like failing, but if I would have taken it more serious and then been on my, like said, slasher, then I would probably been able to complete my degree if I went straight to university off rip. But that's basically it. So what was the last part? Sorry.
So being a pro player is a dream for what seems like every single kid now. Now, esports is now so mainstream. You ask so many kids in school, I want to be a pro player, pro Fortnite player, pro COD player, whatever it may be. But a lot of players don't recognize the sacrifice that is needed to be a pro player. What were the biggest sacrifices that you had to make in your journey to a pro?
Social life. I'd say social life. That's mainly the biggest one. And in terms of that, I mean, like, it's not just like friends. It could be like your girlfriend. Like, you got to be with somebody that understands what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to understand that you're going to be in your room for like 12 hours when the game drops, like that. But the biggest sacrifice is mainly just be social life. Because for me personally, when I lock in and like it's a tournament or anything like that, I'm very closed off. I don't really communicate too much. I'm very just in my own bubble. And I think that's, a blessing and a curse. That's like like I said, the biggest sacrifice is just, maybe losing friends because I'm not going out as much. Maybe losing friends because I got to play and I got to, work on my craft. Maybe maybe getting in a fight with my girlfriend or, my relationships on the rocks because I'm just playing so much and I'm just focused on making sure I'm keeping my job and making sure I'm just doing my best. Yeah. And it's like I said, not everybody's going to understand that. Not everybody's going to understand what you're doing when you say you're playing a video game. Especially back in the day, it was not looked upon or looked at how it is now. Like, people were not looking at playing video games as lucrative and as cool as it is now. Like, that's one thing I've learned since I've been doing it for so many damn years, is that the progress of just esports in general. But I'd say that's definitely just social life, and just making sure, the people around me, calling family. Sometimes I just get so caught up in my own that, my family's calling me and I got to make sure I let them know I'm doing okay. I'm just, working on myself. So, like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. You put your head down for a year, you cut off your social life, you can be in a completely different spot. And that's definitely what I wanted to do when I got to Dallas. But like I said, when I first started competing when I was younger, you have people that high school parties and everything, social life, sports games, just certain like that. I'd say mainly just social life.
So then, reflecting on your career, some of these kids will have, some of these young guys will have girlfriends, they will have parent issues, strained relationships. What advice can you give them to maintain sort of a healthy as possible relationship while they're trying to grind 12, 13, 14 hours a day?
My best advice would be try and make it known. Like, say you're going into a new relationship with a girl, right? Yeah. Try and make it known, like, this is what I do. This is what I spend most of my time on. Some girls are going to be like, all right, he's not out, being a freak. He's going to be in the crib. You can keep eye on him. Yeah. But just try and work on your time management. Try and allocate, say you're playing 5 days a week, try and give like that Friday night to your significant other. Try and like give that Saturday night to your friends. That way you're just checking in. It doesn't have to be many, like every week. It could be like, once a month with your friends, and you can be like, every couple of weeks with your girlfriend, as long as they understand what you're trying to work towards. Like, as long as you're working towards an ultimate goal of just bettering yourself, everybody around you in your circle should understand that. And if they don't, then you got to get people that do support you. But yeah, just time management, and just making sure that you have good communication and you're transparent. Make sure you're transparent. Let everybody know, this is my schedule. I might not text back in time. Make sure that you're not going 10 hours without texting your significant other or anybody while they're texting you and you're leaving them worried and stuff like that. I'd say definitely just time management.
I think, I don't know if you would agree, as a consistent high performer or someone that's in a competitive environment, time management is, in my opinion, easily one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, it's very hard.
We're so obsessed with our craft. We're trying to reach perfection. You're trying to nitpick. You're trying to work on every single thing, where you don't think about or live in the moment, right? You neglect all these things because you're trying to chase a dream. You're trying to be the best at what you do. And I want to bring a point that you raised earlier about trying to live in the moment. I struggle with living in the moment. I'm telling you, my mind is always looking forward.
Damn.
So for example, we had a series against OpTic. We lose terminal hardpoint. We lose control. I'm looking forward, like, okay, what can we do? What's this? What can we do better for next week? Living in the moment has always been a struggle for me personally. Even when we're at events, living in the moment, when we win an event, I'm not truly trying to enjoy the moment, right? What advice could you give for people watching on truly living in the moment?
Just in general?
In general, yeah.
You coming out the gate with the good shit. All right, let me think. I'd say in general, if you want to live in the moment, I'd say number one is try and get off your phone. Like, for instance, I was in Japan about a month ago, and the first few days I found myself just always pulling out my phone. Like, obviously you're across the world, you're gonna want to have the memories.
Yeah.
But after a little bit, I was like, let me put my phone away and let me just literally experience this, as a whole, for myself, rather. You're at a concert, you're not just trying to be, just playing your phone up there nonstop. You just want to try and, the future is going to be there.
Yeah.
You can't control what happened in the past. The only thing you control is right now in this moment. So focus on what you can control. Focus on just living your life. Some people that are young, even when I was young, I always focused on, we're thinking about when I get older and all this stuff. Keep your youth, focus on being young, do what you can while you're young. Don't think about getting older. Just try and live your life to the fullest, just try and, the saying, you only live once, try and do as much as you can, travel, do as much as you can. Like I said, just really try and live life. Don't just go through life, live life. But really, my number one thing would just be put away your phone and just, have good people around you and just try and do the most you can. Go see the world.
Yeah.
I think going and traveling is very essential for, character development. And when I say character development, that just means growth as a person. But really just put away your phone. Don't worry about social media. Social media will just make you think that you have to keep up. You have to be doing so much more. But I saw a quote that was social media is a highlight of people's their good times in their life. You don't see the struggles for people to get to those moments. So people might see something on IG and be like, oh, I got to do this. I got to, get this and be like that. But, just focus on yourself. Do what you need to do. You're not in a race against anybody but yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's my main, the best advice I could give.
I think you hit the nail on the head about social media. I think social media creates a fake expectation and a fake perception of what life really is.
Yes.
There's a saying, Juan, what was that saying? I'll have to, I'm gonna have to give you the quote and you're gonna have to just edit it in. Back to my social media point, it creates a fake perception, a fake expectation of you aren't doing good in life unless you have this, unless you look like this.
Yes.
Unless you want this, right? And it's all over social media. And I think to your point, it's very difficult to live in the moment when you're constantly trying to compare yourself to these expectations. It's very easy to take for granted what we have here, what we do here, when you're constantly looking forward, when you're constantly trying to compare yourself to others, right?
100%.
So I think to your point, I think that's a very fantastic point. Hey, just disconnect from social media. Take time to just put your phone down. Have you ever considered meditation?
Oh yeah, of course, always. I'm very big into meditating. I haven't done it recently, but I think just being able to clear your mind, get your mind right. People don't understand, half of competing is your mental game.
Yes.
it's not just, getting on and having the skill and whatnot. You got to be mentally prepared. Like, it's not easy. Like I tell people all the time, it's not easy to win. Like, it's hard as hell to win. It's hard as hell to win. It is so many more like different factors and people like than what people see. It's like your culture within your team. Like that's why I was talking about like Troy. I saw him when he went on the OpTic watch party after you guys won champs, and him talking about you guys' culture within your team and how you guys just basically vibe out together and how you guys are actually a team. I think that's just, very, very important, and just like actually enjoying the people that you're around. You know what I'm saying?
So the quote was, "Comparison is a thief of joy." That was the quote. That was the quote. When you compare yourself to others, you take away from what you have.
Yes.
And I think social media is just full of comparisons. And so that's where your joy is being taken away. So get off social media, guys.
Don't take what you have for granted. That's one thing, like, going back to my car accident. After that, I never will take what I do for granted. Like, we have a blessed job, you know what I'm saying? You're blessed to just be here and blessed to do whatever you can. Don't ever focus on the hard times. Hard times don't last. Tough people do, or tough times don't last. Tough people do. So
just put that on a shirt.
But like I said, just focus on yourself, focus on what you control, and just don't take anything for granted. Don't, if you're traveling, if you're going to a sports game, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy that moment, because a lot of people don't get to do those types of things. So I say just don't take things for granted, and like I said, just try not to be comparing yourself to just people on social media, because you can work at your own pace. You don't have to feel like when you're by 20 or when you're 25, you have to have this, and this. You know what I'm saying? You can get everything you want just in due time if you just work for it. So.
I think you're spot on. For most of my life, I had a very pessimistic mindset. And then meditation was one of the biggest things that helped me to try and attempt to live in the moment, but also change the pessimism to optimism. Glass half full. Now I'm looking at the best in people, the good in situations, an opportunity. So there are different ways, guys, you can reframe your mind. If you want to meditate, you can probably figure it out. Okay, so let's move on more into Halo specific. I mentioned earlier you are a serial consistent winner. That is my definition for you.
Thank you.
You've won as many tournaments as there is. You've won a ton of LAN events. You name it, you've probably won it, right? So I want to just give you some context on us. We won Major 1 in 2022. Then the meta changes, spawn system changes, teams catch up. So you have this growth phase, right? And then there's a point where you start to plateau and other teams catch up. That was the moment where we realized that as soon as we're up here, after we won Major 1 and we're starting to plateau, we need to continue to change and double down.
Yes.
That's where we struggled going into Major 2. This is called going for the gap. So diving deeper into you, in your mind, what was some of the biggest reasons why you and OpTic had such consistency at the highest level as you did?
Each day when we got on, we gave it our all. Each day. That's one thing I will always appreciate being on that team, is that each day, until the day that I got off the team, we still gave it our all each day in practice. We went over theater right after. We talked, we hung out. I think just staying hungry, you know what I'm saying? Not being complacent. Obviously we had our issues after Charlotte and until Fort Worth, but that was just like you said, just a learning curve. People were catching up, new game types and whatnot. So we're learning the same as other people. But I think just getting on each day and making sure that you give a going into practice, like make sure you're not wasting people's time. I think that's like, if there's any advice I got to give to people trying to be professional, it's like, don't waste people's time. Make sure when you get that, like you sit down and play, that you are there for the right reasons. And also make sure that when you sit down to play, people to your left and to your right are there for the right reasons as well. And you're all there to accomplish that one goal. When people criticize you or anything like that, don't take it too harshly. They're only looking for the best in you. They're trying to improve. They want you to improve the same way you should give them criticism and want them to improve. But like I said, it's just being confident in your teammates, getting on each day and giving shit about practice. Practice is fucking important, man. You get practice how you play, bro. If you practice and you feel comfortable and confident going into a tournament, don't ever go to a tournament when you go on that flight. Don't feel like you could have done more before you get on that flight. Exactly. Like you don't want to have any regrets, especially going to a world championship or anything like that. Like those weeks leading up, make sure before you get on that flight, you feel like when you're packing up your shit, when you turn off your PC for the last time, you're like, all right, I did the most I can. I feel comfortable going into this tournament. And each event we did that. Our practice before Salt Lake and going forward to the end of the year was incredible. In between, I think like we maybe had like 2 months of where we were just like not necessarily slacking, but we could have just did more. You know what I'm saying? We weren't doing us. And I think that just comes with, being at the top for so long. You might have some sort of complacency sometimes in there, but it's not going to last for a while. I'm sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. So I was going to ask. So my question is, how do you stay hungry? How do you remove complacency? Because I'll use a quote from boxing. It's very difficult to get out of bed at 6 a.m. to run when you've got silk shorts on, when you've won. You've got the winner's high. Very difficult, right?
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
So you guys have won so much. How did you prevent complacency and how did you keep that hunger?
So I'll say this. So each year, I'll speak for myself individually, and I'm sure I can speak for them as well. So first of all, for myself, each year, at the beginning of the year, I do something called a vision board, and I write down my goals and what I want to accomplish that year.
We do that.
You do that as well?
Yeah, we do that.
You got to do that. It's important, bro. That's like some secret sauce I never really told people, but that is key, bro. Manifestation is very, very real. That
Absolutely.
is, write down what you want to accomplish, and that will come true if you work for it. You can't just write it down and not actually be putting in the work behind it. But if you write it down and you have something that you're looking at each day, like say you have your goals right there, you look at it each day, you're like, I want to accomplish that. I want to make sure I do that this year. And I think that making sure you have goals that are out, they could be still winning tournaments. That should be obviously your number one goal, but just making sure you have other goals that coincide with winning tournaments. Like for instance, I really wanted a house. I wanted to make sure I got a house. So each day when I get on, I'm thinking to myself, I got to get a house for my dog and my girl. Like I got to work for. So I think just making sure you have other things to work for, like you can always want to win, but making sure, when you have other people depending on you in certain things, it's a whole different story. But like I said, each year I write my goals down and I want to hit those fucking goals. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like every day I look at that board and I want to hit every single thing on that board. Like this year, unfortunately, the only thing I did not hit was the back-to-back world champs, but every single thing other than that, I got a new bag. Like you see the new bag, I got the
Amazing
house.
bag, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And then just certain things like that. But I think just staying hungry is just, because you get the money.
Yep.
After you win, the money's not a factor anymore. You get the fame if you really want that. You get the attention, but you have to just set goals for yourself and just stay. Remember why you started.
Yes.
So you can, I've been in this for a while, and even myself, sometimes I let off the gas, but I remind myself each day, when I get on and when it's off season, like why did I start this? And it's I was started when I was young, but it reignites that passion and makes me want to keep going each day. When I improve, like say right now we have the Bandit, new starting weapon. When I get on and I'm this new weapon, I'm like, all right, I want to keep going. I want to keep playing. It's like working out. You get a pump, you get some results after a month. You want to keep going to the gym. You want to keep improving on your body. I think that's just for me as an individual, and I can speak for them in this regard, is that we each day when we get on, we want to keep getting better. We see ourselves getting better. Like say like for instance, we really needed to work on Streets Oddball. And after scrims, I would just, I say things in like a trolling manner, but I mean that serious way. So I'd be like, we gotta nip Streets Oddball in the bud. Like we gotta take care of that. And then we'll go into theater. I'll create that dialogue. Not just me, we always would do that, but I'm just using me as an example. Create that dialogue, go into theater, we look at what we're doing wrong and we improve upon it. And then we get that game type down pat. And that's the type where you see that and you're like, that's a good team. You know what I'm saying? That's a good team when you can go through things like that and actually improve upon them still 2 years in on that team. So like I said, I think just overall is just making sure you set like micro goals and making sure you're hitting those micro goals, and then just going forward, just hitting the bigger goals.
This man is speaking my language. I like this. I just want to say, did you feel like when you in what we call it, they call SMART goals, right? Did you feel like when you had your vision board, when you were creating your SMART goals, when you were creating your micro goals, did it feel like it reinforced your mindset, your mindset shift? So just to give you some context, I do the same thing. I have my goals. When I see my goals, anyone else's opinions, anyone else who's in the way, I don't care for anymore. I'm focused on that.
Yes.
So a couple of years ago, I don't want to speak too much, but I was nervous to do this sort of stuff. I'm thinking, what's this person going to say? What's this person going to think? And then I set my goals, and it's almost like a mindset shift. Like, I don't care what this person says. I don't care what he's going to stop me. These are my goals for the year. I'm going to do everything possible. I have the small steps to hit that.
100%.
Did that reinforce your mindset?
Of course. Like when you write down and you see it physically, like nothing can get in the way of that. You know what I'm saying, like that's what you are there to accomplish, and you want to make sure. Like for me, when I look back on the year, and even my girlfriend, when I met her, we've been dating for 3 years now. When she first met me, she told me like this is the first like month of us dating. She's like, let's do vision boards, and I was in the manifestation, but this is before Halo Infinite. I was like, what the hell is that? Sure enough, we did them each year. My goals are, they're being accomplished each and every year.
How do you go about setting these goals? So let's say if a viewer wants to take that for education, how do you look at setting these goals?
Yeah, that's a good question. It goes back to being self-aware, like doing a self-evaluation of yourself. Be like, all right, what do I really want from my life? Be like, all right, I make this amount of money. Money isn't everything, but you say you make this amount of money, I want a new car. Yeah. Start budgeting, being like, all right, I got a budget for this. I make this, let me start budgeting for that. Say you're professional, I want to become you want a top 3. You start working for that top 3. It's just I think it all pertains to the type of person you are and what's going on in your life. So don't set like, once you start hitting them, then you can start setting like higher and higher goals. So even if you like, what's the saying? Shoot for the moon, land on the stars, something like that.
Shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
Yes. I apologize.
No,
but like that, just set your goals higher and higher each year, and then you'll see that you will accomplish them. But even if you don't accomplish those super high ones, you'll still accomplish some of them. And like I said, it's just looking within and being like, being real with yourself, saying like you're not in a good position in life. You're like, all right, I want to get out of this position. Like, I want to give up going out and eating. I want to give up just going out and partying. I want to start cooking food in the house. I want to lose weight. Be like, all right, I look within, be like, all right, I want to start dieting. It's just, it goes back to discipline as well. Having that discipline and then setting those goals, as it just goes hand in hand.
Perfect. Right. Last few questions. Let's talk about, have you ever considered playing in COD? Because you see the amount of players that have transitioned over. Krim, Shotty, Formal, Travis when he first went over. Have you ever considered it?
So the only time I ever considered it, and it was no more really than a thought, was at the end of 2018 is when Frosty switched, and a lot of Halo players were thinking of switching, or they were playing Black Ops 4 because Halo 5 ended. We're kind of in like a limbo period before Halo Infinite comes out. They have like Halo 3 lane tournaments, which is that's what I competed on or competed in when I was on Tox. The only time I ever thought about switching was end of 2018 when I was on Tox, or I got asked to be on Tox. I was on Renegades at the time. I was teaming with Mikwin, Penguin, and Neptune. Yeah. Before the last event, Snakebite hit me up. He's like, would you like to join our team? Frosty's going to COD. And I said yes immediately. And that was the only time I was ever thinking about doing it, because Black Ops 4 was kind of similar to Halo in terms of the health. And I was like, no, I could do it. And I'm confident I could do it, but it would be essentially me taking a pay cut and waiting for that moment for me to improve and get to that point where I'm, good enough to get salaried, be on a team and whatnot. But I just got offered to be on, one of the greatest Halo teams of all time, arguably might be the greatest. Yeah. So I was thinking about weighing my options. I was like, let me go and be on this team rather than go and play COD. So
fair enough.
That was the only time, but I'm very, very heavily invested in COD. I love COD. I love watch COD. I fuck with
favorite team is New York. Let's talk about your new team. Collect, Mikwin, and Neppy. Got Travis on that team. Brilliant kid. So it might not be in the video, but you talked about how you are very quiet earlier. But when I talk to you, when I look at you as a leader.
Thank you.
A leader figure isn't someone that needs to give motivational speeches every day. It's how you can get your collective group of guys to an objective through your actions. What is your new role on this team? Are you the leader? Because you are very, very, very heavily experienced.
I like to think of myself as a leader when I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I think that on a team that everybody should contribute to play calls, contribute to strats and everything. So I don't want there to be like one set person that everybody's relying on. I want us all to take that initiative.
Leadership.
Yes. Just just step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? I do think that what I've learned being on my OpTic team and my Talks team, I will apply those teachings to my new team, you know, and I think I have a lot of knowledge. And I said this even back when I was let go on Talks, going into when I was teaming with, at the time it was Ola, Trippy, Lucid, and I. And I said in an interview, like during my transition period, like, you know, I learned a lot on that team. You know, I learned how to win when I was on Talks.
Yeah.
When I got on that team is when I became a winner. You know what I'm saying? I really became a winner. I learned how to win. I learned all the intricacies of winning, you know, getting a good breakfast, making sure that you're being the hardest kill possible, you know what I'm saying? Not just jumping out and just being an easy death, because in Halo, it's a domino effect. You know, you get one kill.
Same in COD.
Yeah. The setup's going to be broken, or you have to do damage control. So you want to make sure you're playing your life to the fullest. You know, something I always say is, like I always say this on stream, is, you know, if say you're sitting behind a wall and you're like in a fight with somebody, it's better for them to waste a nade on you to kill you rather than you jumping out and giving them an easy headshot.
Scamming, we call it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that we say that too, because we actually took that word from you guys. But it's better to, you know, make them waste that nade. That way that they don't have a nade in a future situation, rather than, you know, them getting an easy kill. Yes, plus it'll take a little bit more time for them to kill you. So milking your life, just being a hard death, just a lot of shit I learned. And I'm excited to just teach and just help my new teammates, especially Neptune and Colette, because they're young players. So I'm very excited to just, like I said, learn or teach them everything that I've learned. But just, you know, outside of game stuff, inside of game stuff, I'm just very, very excited for that opportunity.
In your mind, in your experiences, you don't have to go into super detail, but what are the ingredients to a successful team? What is going to be the reason why you guys succeed this year, or when the circuit's announced?
All right, let me scoot up for this one. Let me scoot up for this one. Okay, so in my opinion, the ingredients to a successful team, first and foremost, you have to be on the same page outside the game.
Yep.
If you're not on the same page outside the game, you can still be successful, but you have to be an incredibly, incredibly talented team, because you have to be able to sit down, even though you don't like those people to your left and right. You got to be able to sit down and know that when you sit down, you're a different player, and your teammates, you're not going to be your coworkers. Essentially, you're not teammates, you're coworkers. And you know, some teams have seen success like that, but it's not the ideal way to go about it. That's first and foremost. Make sure that you guys, you don't have to be friends, but just friends is better. I would say be friends. You know, enjoy hanging out with each other, because that will translate into game. I think that if you have tensions on your team or anything like that, it's going to show in game. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be one to help somebody as much. It's going to show.
Yeah.
But make sure you guys are on the same page outside the game, making sure that you guys have a good system, making sure, you know, everybody's showing up on time, nobody's lacking. And just having if your teammates' mindsets aren't great, making sure that they get the right mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, showing up to practice on time, giving it your all, being cool outside the game, being able to take constructive criticism as well as give it properly. You know, you can't just be like, what the doing? You know what I'm saying? You have to approach it properly, because not everybody's going to receive information the same as you might. And you have to approach people differently. And that's something I've learned. And that's something I think I'm pretty good at, is not necessarily adapting, but being able to communicate with people the right way, instead of just, you know, being just a rude.
Yeah.
So I say that, you know, obviously just being a hard kill. I think just, if you want me to, for lack of a better phrase, just giving a. I mean, a lot of people nowadays don't give a, and that's something that I really pride myself on. Just like each and every day, getting on and giving a. You know what I'm saying? Like, people might lack when they come on for practice. They might just be there for the check. They might just be there for the stats. You know, they don't actually give a about winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, winning is it's a feeling like no other. You know what I'm saying? It's a high that cannot be replicated. And once you get that feeling, and once you experience that when you're on stage, and all the lights, the confetti, like everybody looking at you, the photos, everything that after go to the bar, you get the dope hits. Like, and why dope? I mean dopamine. If you guys don't know what I'm saying, like, you go straight dopamine.
Yeah.
And once you get that, bro, that's all you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you want. Like, since 2019, I've won a lot of tournaments. I'm not going to sit here and I think I've won close to probably, like, this is Halo 3 tournaments, so not like sanctioned HCS, but I've won almost the most since then. I'm not going to say I've won the most, but because Snakebite and them, I've won a lot, but I've won a lot of tournaments since 2019. just it's really just giving a man. And I think that pro players, they really know me, like they know the type of player I am, and they know that I'm not slacking. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get on for practice with me and I'm gonna be not calling out or something like that. I'm not going to let anything outside the game translate to inside the game. You have to understand, like, if you get in a fight with your girlfriend or something like that, don't come into practice and be all whiny and be able to separate your personal life to your actual game life or your professional life. You know what I'm saying? Like, be able to be a professional. Because think about basketball players, stuff like that. And that's I've started to relate like certain instances to basketball or just like sports leagues, like, you know, team changes and swaps like that. But I'm sure basketball players, they got a lot of shit and stuff that's going on outside of basketball. But when they come onto that court, they know they got to perform and they know they got something to do. So I think that's just the main thing, is just giving and being able to be coachable, having respect for your coach and for your teammates, and wanting to improve. Like, you should want to be criticized. You know what I'm saying? Especially by people that are.
Let's reframe that. Feedback, not criticism. Feedback.
You should want feedback. That's you're 100% right. I like that. I'm gonna start using that terminology instead of what I'm saying. But you should want that feedback. You should want your teammates. You know, I'm asking. You know, OpTic can tell you this. I'm asking them, like, yo, what do you think I should improve upon? You know, what do I need to work on going forward into this tournament? I was asking that stuff. Going into Salt Lake, because going into Salt Lake, I think we were playing well enough to win Salt Lake, but that's when we really started to kick it into like the final gear going towards the end of the year. So we're all giving feedback, we're all giving constructive criticism, and we're all, like I said, we're all there for the right goal. And you can look at some players, like, bro, people stream scrims like in Halo, like you can see some people like just not giving it their all. Like, they might just
same in COD.
Yes, they might just be stat whoring. They might just be trying to get kills because they want to look on the stat sheet instead of, like, they want their KD to be high instead of just wanting the overall score to be you won the match. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should not want your KD like to be the standout of that match. You want to just win the match and then move on to the next. Let me think. I think that's just the main thing I can really say, is just really, and this is to anybody watching, try your best. You know, there's going to be days where you might be lackluster, you might not, you might be tired and shit like that. There's going to be those days, you know what I'm saying? Like, but do your best to not waste people's time. Like, you want to make sure that, you know, time is the one thing you don't get back in life. That is the one fucking thing you don't get back in life. So make sure each scrim that you have, you're using it to your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you're trying to improve in that scrim, making sure that you're going hard, making sure that what you talked about in your team review or VOD review, that you're implementing it in those next scrims or in that next match. Like, there's been many times where, since I sat next to Lucid, him and I would just be talking a lot about certain stuff in matches, and obviously we've talked to the rest of the team. Yeah. But instantaneously, next match, we're using this exact that we talked about. We're trying to implement it in the very next match, and I think that's very, very key. If your teammates give you a feedback about something that you need to improve upon or something that you're doing wrong, make sure that you try to work on it. Don't let that happen like multiple times and for them to keep on telling you, because that is going to warrant you getting let go of the team.
Yes. And just to your point, when you say give it 100% looks different every single day. You have highs, you have lows. As long as you give it your best, you might not feel the best. You might be, your routines might be mess. You might have had a fight with your girlfriend. You separate that. You still try and give you 100%.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. If you want to coach, you message me. That was
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay.
Please feel free. You can ask as much as you want, man. I'm chilling.
Guys, comment below. We might need a part 2 on this. We definitely need a part 2 on this. And we'll just wrap it up here. I want to talk about you personally. You love your skincare.
Thanks.
Your skin is glowing.
Thank you.
Guys, his skin is glowing.
Thank you.
So for me, growing up in the UK, I'll speak for UK, I won't speak for the US growing up. Skincare for men was never seen as something to be taken seriously, right? Nowadays, now we have different products for different ethnicities, different types of skin, sensitive skin, so on. You have charcoal, you have all these other things, and it's now more prevalent for men in this generation. I think it's called looks maxing or base maxing on TikTok, whatever it is. The reason why I ask this is because he wants to release his own skincare range, right?
I do, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to try it out first. I will be the first one to use it. But what made you want to go down the skincare route, and how much of sort of the business have you gone into?
I always believe in look good, feel good, play good. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I try and look presentable, even outside of tournaments. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know what opportunities you could get.
Yeah.
I noticed that gamers don't really care about their appearance. It's not about, you gotta you care about what people think. It's just being presentable, just wanting to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
I got really into skincare, I'd say probably like 2016 or 17, 2016, 2017. And just ever since then, it's just like you just find it's like working out. I always refer things to working out. You find new exercises, you find new products, and you want to try certain out. And then you just find stuff that works for you. Same way you find workouts that work for you, and then you just keep on, using it, and then just keep on elevating.
Yep.
But it's really just I pride myself in just wanting to feel the best and feel confident, and that will translate into my gameplay. I think that your personality and who you are in the real world, that translates and that bleeds into your gameplay. Like if you're an unconfident person, or if you're, super timid or shy, that's going to bleed into your gameplay. You might not challenge like when you need to. You might not push people when you need to, something like that. But if you're a confident person, if I'm feeling like I'm good, I got that on, like I'm feeling like my skin's good, I'm going to play 100 times better than I would if I feel like I'm a bum. You know what I'm saying? That's just for me individually. But that's just mainly it. So I just really pride myself, looking good, feeling good, playing good. I think that it's really a lost art in gaming, or just for gamers, is they don't just care about themselves as much as they should. Like they care about, their operator or the Spartan, instead of just making sure that they actually look proper, when you go on stage. Like, also this might sound like a little egotistical, but I want to look good. Like if you win a tournament and you're on stage taking those photos, you want to you know what I'm saying? You want to look good for those photos. You never know which one you might want to get framed. So
I love that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Like I said, you never know what's going to happen. That Sunday, I'm making sure I look good on that Sunday, because when you take those photos, you want to make sure you look proper. But it's really just I'm just all about like the aesthetics. Like I love skincare, I love fashion, sneakers, just everything. Like I want to create my own clothing brand, and I want to release also candles. That's something that my girlfriend and I are working on. We want to create candles, because something that is like, nobody take this idea either, because this is
trademarked.
No, because it is trademarked, because nobody else is doing that, and everybody creates like merch and stuff like that. So I want to create a clothing brand that is versatile. You can wear it when you go to an event, wear it when you go walk your dog, wear it when you go to the mall, wear it when you go to the bar, wear it when you go out on a date, when you go to the airport. I want to create a clothing brand where it's just versatile. You can wear it everywhere, and it's luxurious, as well as candles. Nobody's creating candles, especially in the gaming space.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And everybody with candles. There's not a single person that can say, I don't like candles.
Scented candles.
Yes, exactly. Because, who doesn't like their room smelling good and actually just smelling good, period. So we do want to create those. And then the skincare, that skincare is hard, because it's just like, it's down the line, because you got to go through so many samples and testing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I will say, and I don't like to talk about things too much until it's finished, because I don't want to jinx it.
Evil eye. I'm the same. Yeah, I'm
exactly.
the same.
So the candles, in terms of like the business side, we are looking into like manufacturers and whatnot. Since we've been to Japan, manufacturers in Japan, because since we went there, we've met a lot of people. We got a lot of connections, and we kind of switched up what we wanted to do in terms of manufacturing. Now we want to get our made in Japan, because it's the quality and everything else a little bit cheaper, considering the yen to the US dollar. So we want to do that, and also create the candles and the skincare all under one umbrella. So it'll all be under one name. I don't reveal the name just yet, but it's all under one name. And then we want to really get that started going into next year. I've been talking about it a lot on my stream, and just a lot of, like I've talked about, I wanted to create the candles and whatnot, but just so many other things, like financially, that we've had to take care of, like say the house. There's other things I can't reveal it too much yet, but just so many other things that just kind of get in the way. But now, since we got the crib, we got a lot more space, and I don't have to really technically be saving up for anything.
Yeah.
So we can really just get these businesses started, and that's like what our I'm not gonna say number one goal, but it's our number one goal outside of winning tournaments. So it's like, if I say it's number one goal, people are gonna be like, oh, he doesn't want to win tournaments.
Oh, he doesn't want to win anymore.
Yeah, but that's
like multiple goals.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's really the route we want to take. So that's coming in 2024.
I'm in the same situation as you, trying to look forward again, struggle to live in the moment. And you want to try and start a business, you want to try and work for yourself, doing all that stuff. How has it been for you navigating business compared to esports? What I found personally is there are a lot of like transferable skills, working with others, leading, planning, organizing, thinking ahead.
Yes.
How has the whole business process been for you compared to being in esports?
I'd say it's exactly what you said. Working with others, just even like I said, we're speaking to people in Japan, so like the language barrier, that's like another difficult part. And I haven't even told anybody that like on my stream, but like that's like a secret. It's just like we're looking at manufacturers in Japan.
Yeah,
and it's just not only that, but it all goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? It all goes back to like school, like working with others, do group work, just discipline, and it's just you gotta have patience. You gotta have a lot of patience when it comes to clothing because of samples. You gotta send them back and forth. You gotta wait. You gotta make sure that things are. You don't want to settle. You don't want to settle. You want to make sure that you're doing things to the quality and to the standard that you want it to be. But I agree with you 100%. It's really just everything goes hand in hand.
that was a perfect answer.
You think so? I was trying to say some more because what you said was perfect. What we said was perfect about like just in business, because I think that's just one of the things that gamers they kind of lack is just those social skills and
the soft skills.
Yes. But that's why I think like going to school is important. Like being able to communicate with people, working in a group, being able to have a leader and then being be able to follow them, or you be that leader, and then having people listen to you. So I think that's basically it.
Amazing answer. Okay, let's wrap this up. What was your first car?
Ford Focus 2007.
Not bad. What's your dream car?
Ferrari Spider.
Oh,
Ferrari Spider.
Okay. Lamborghini Urus.
You like yours?
Yeah.
I can't do SUVs. I can't do
SUVs.
I can't because I'll talk about it off camera, but I just can't drive them. Like when I get into them, I just feel like I'm just way too off the ground. I would love one because I was looking at GLEs for my girl. She likes GLEs, and that's just like GLEs. They're a beautiful car.
Yeah.
It's like real similar to I think the X6. They kind of got the same
coupe back.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a dope back.
Yes.
You got that silhouette. It looks beautiful, but I just can't. It's just too.
All I can drive is SUVs, unfortunately.
See, that's because you're so I'm the opposite, bro. I cannot do it, bro. It's too much.
To in August. I tried to sit in a Cayenne.
Oh wow,
couldn't fit. Macan couldn't fit.
Really?
911 couldn't fit.
Dude, I would.
It has to be like a BMW or an Audi.
Well, see, I like even test drove like a 330, like a BMW 330, not a 340, the M3, but I test drove a 330, and it was even too big for me. Like, and that's a sedan. So I had my second car was a Lexus, or actually it was Mercedes. It was a Mercedes. I forgot exactly one, but it was an older one, and that's the one I got into the car accident. And then after that, I got a Lexus IS 250, and that was like perfect in terms of size. It was like 4-door. And then my girl, like we sold the Lexus, and then she has her Mercedes CLA, and that was like it's nice. Cool. It's nice, but it's just like I don't like the front of it. It's just like I don't even know. It's like it doesn't look like the front is long. So when you're driving and you're parking, it looks like you might hit something, but you have a lot of room. You know what I'm saying? But
try sitting in a Defender.
Really?
Is it called a bonnet in the US? We call it a hood. Sorry, you guys call it a hood, right? We call it a bonnet. The front of the car.
The
hood, right? It's so long. It's so long. Wow.
It just makes you feel uncomfortable. Like you're gonna run into something or something like that.
Fair enough. Okay.
But what's your dream car? I want to know that.
Lamborghini Urus, and I'm eyeing a Defender.
I forgot you just said that. You just
love Defenders. Okay. Dream watch. I know I've seen the Insta. So what is that?
This is a Cartier Santos all black. This one is
wow, it's gorgeous.
You can get it, like you just go to the store and get it, but I don't think it's very I think it's mostly sold out. I think it's pretty common that people go and want to buy it, but it's not like on display. Like if you want to get this watch, you have to kind of go on the Cartier website and know about it.
Yeah.
But let me put this.
So what's the process for the viewers out there? What's the process when you buy such an expensive timepiece? I call it an investment.
I agree with you. So I'll go back before. So this watch, I set a goal and I had it written down on my notes. I can still show you. I said, if we win Worlds, I'm getting this watch. And that was the first year. Won Worlds. Went to the bank like a month after. I got like 10K cash. I wanted to feel cool, so I got it all cash. And then I wanted to feel cool, so I got cash. And then I went to the Cartier store in Highland Park, and I was looking at the watch for a while. I didn't even check the inventory, and when I pulled up, I didn't have the cash on me. I wanted to make sure I looked at the watch and I liked it.
Yeah.
So I pulled up and I asked them for it. They told me this is the last one. They had to go. It's not on display. They have to go in the back and actually get it, or go underneath and get it. So it's not on display. All the other Santoses are. If you know watches, you know what I'm talking about. The silver Santos. I didn't get the silver Santos because I think black matches my style more. And the silver Santos, it has like a blue hand in the dial. So it just set off a lot of my outfits, just having the silver and then the red and blue.
Yeah.
But they showed me the watch and I told them, I looked at it, I tried it on, and I was like, damn. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
So then I told them, I was like, they thought I was lying. I was like, all right, hold this for me. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get the cash. And because I don't want to just walk around with 10K cash. It's like, all right, I'm going to go back home. I'm going to get the cash and I'll come back. Went back home, went back to the store, paid it right in cash. I think I don't want to say the price, but if you look it up, you'll find it. Yeah. But it was like one of my biggest accomplishments, outside of the house. But like, this is, it's a trophy to me. It's a trophy to me. Yes. It's for winning worlds. But in terms of my dream watch, I really, really want to get an AP skeleton Royal Oak. AP Skellies.
Yes.
AP Skellies are absolutely beautiful, especially like rose gold Royal Oak. I absolutely love those. But the next one I do want to get is a Royal Oak like silver dial. I think there's or a Vacheron. I love Vacheron Constantine. I think Fellow showed me those like years ago, and I fell in love with those watches ever since. But it's a low key watch brand. If you know watches, you know Vacheron. You know what I'm saying? But if you most people don't know, Vacheron. But it's a very, very reputable brand. I think they got a store in Highland Park as well now. And I haven't gone there and looked at them, but I also think that going into the store, like say you do want to watch, go into that store, try it on, and then have that kind of like try it on, get that manifestation, be like, all right, I want this watch, and then you never know, and then a year later you can get that watch. But for this, it was like, I know other watches it's hard to get because you have to go to an AD, like authorized dealer, if they don't have it in stock. Say like Rolexes are probably much harder to get because they're so popular, and I know some Rolexes you have to be put on a list for. So next one I want to get is either Vacheron, AP, or presidential all gold Rolex. I really would love to have one of those in my collection. But I love this watch because the rubber band, it's nice. It's very casual, but this one you can also change it out to a crocodile band, and then it's like it's a more classy watch. So it's like got this new little like mechanism where the dial's the only one there. You switch it out, and it's just a crocodile band. But I love this watch to death. It's like one of my biggest trophies.
What an amazing podcast. We'll finish on that. If you want a part two, I've got so many more questions. We're under a bit of a time constraint, but if you want a part two, I got so many more for this, man.
No, thank you so much. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. Absolute pleasure to have this legend in the Halo scene with me today. I'm still shocked. I'm still in awe. I do genuinely deep down appreciate that. Plug your socials. Not like you need an introduction, but hey, here we are.
If you guys want to follow me, my Twitter is aPureGangster, all one word. Twitter.com/aPuregangster. My Instagram is Brad, BRAD_LAWS laws. So Instagram.com/Brad_laws. I just changed my TikTok name. So my TikTok is, I think, brad.apg or apg.brad. So, and then my YouTube is still OpTic APG. So I haven't had any content there yet, but a lot of YouTube content is on the way. I have a lot of vlogs, and that's something that I'm trying to get into in 2024 is just, I stream a lot. If you got, also my Twitch is aPG. Follow me on Twitch. I stream almost every day in the morning. So please follow me on Twitch. I'm very, very active on there. And the YouTube is the next goal. So YouTube, a lot of YouTube content coming. I have Japan vlogs. I got Japan clothing hauls. I'm trying to really get into like the fragrance / fashion side of YouTube, but for gamers. You know what I'm saying? Because like I don't think that there's a market for that, or nobody's really like tapped into that in terms of gamers. So I want to just educate. I'm not trying to be here to shame people or anything like that. Like because they're not up to they're not like me in terms of, how much they care about their appearance or their skincare. I want to help people get to,
because it helps your self-confidence, right? So it can help other people.
Exactly. Absolutely. And then a lot of people just don't know the like first place to start. You know what I'm saying? They don't know or feel like they have anybody to ask, that they feel comfortable enough to ask, or anybody in their life, or anything like that. So I want to be that person, that bridge to help people get into that I guess that I don't even know. Just get into that.
There's going to be a part 2, guys. There's so much more I wanna absorb from him. There's so much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you guys for having me. For real. Thank you.